Since we've released our blog, we've gotten a ton of questions about our studio and how do we shoot so much video. So today, I figured we'd shoot the video from behind the scenes to show you we have a full production studio here in Austin. In fact, I sit right back there when we go on Fox or CNBC or any of the cable networks that need me as a contributor. Today's topic is one that I am incredibly familiar with. In fact, I know you are too. As entrepreneurs, as high achievers, we place ourselves under a tremendous amount of pressure. In fact, we expect more from ourselves than most people do. Some would call this pressure, some would call this achievement, but most simply refer to this as stress. In my life, and especially in my business career, there have been times where the only feeling I can identify is stress. And I'll tell you specifically when. In 2007, when Katie and I went bankrupt, the stress for me was overwhelming. It was a place where I never expected to be, and I didn't think that would ever happen to us. So I went out looking for solutions, and I wanted to find the book that said, hey, everything fell apart, but you're going to be okay. And it just wasn't there. So I focused on what I was feeling and started looking at how do I make this better? How do I make this feeling, these emotions that I have, move me in the right direction? You've often heard me say, I think the biggest friction points or challenges that we have are also our biggest opportunities. I was feeling an overwhelming amount of stress. Could I turn that into an opportunity? What I found might surprise you. Research that was originated in 1908, you heard me right, over 100 years ago, into stress and arousal in human beings and then physical performance, conducted by two researchers, Yerkes and Dodson, came up with a law. We are more productive as stress increases to a point, and then we rapid decline productivity as stress goes too far. Now, they came up with a simple curve. What this stress chart shows is that on the x-axis, we have stress, and on the y-axis, productivity. And you can see as stress increases, we increase productivity until a point where we don't have enough, and then it falls off. Now, here's what's so interesting about the Yerkes-Dodson law. Not having enough stress can be just as challenging as having too much. And there's a place in between not enough stress and too much called eustress. Some people might refer to this as being in the zone or finding flow or that area of incredible productivity that comes from having the highest results and the highest stress management. So why would this be? Why does productivity go up with stress? Well, anyone who goes to the gym and lifts weights understands the dynamic. If you go into the gym and you lift weights today, you can lift a certain amount for a certain amount of repetitions. If you do that for a period of time, this will get easier, and the way to continue to grow, continue to get better, is to add more weight, more repetitions. And as you continue to do that, you continue to improve. Well, what does the weight represent? Stress. If our bodies react to stress in a positive way and they come back stronger, shouldn't we be able to as well? Now, I want you to understand, I'm certainly not talking about those individuals who have so much going on that they're headed for a breakdown or absolutely falling apart. But I do want all of us to think, do we have enough stress in our lives? You've often heard people complain about burnout or feeling burned out. Well, are they burned out or have they lost passion? See, when we really examine our lives and we understand that the more stress we're under, the more productive we become, if we're mindful of this equation, this mindfulness will bring us to the understanding that stress is actually a good thing. In fact, that person that we all have in our lives, I know you do and I know I do, it's the one who every time you see them, they spend a period of time telling you how stressed out they are because they can't get everything done. And we all know that if they would just stop talking about stress and get their work done, they wouldn't have to be stressed out anymore. Well, if we know that every time we're stressed, we're growing, that stress is actually a positive, that we should be applying stress to our lives, the next time you encounter that person, say to them, great! If you're so stressed out you can't get everything done, you're going to learn something. This is a perfect time for you. You're experiencing growth. One of two things will happen. Either they will never come to you with their stress issues again, or they'll change their behavior. Understand that over time, we want to make sure that we are always putting stress into our lives to create productivity. The mindfulness that is often talked about with stress is really more mindful when we understand that we're growing. Just that simple change in mentality towards stress can send us to an entirely different place when we think about things. In fact, if we're out looking for stress and adding it to our lives purposefully, we change things. We have a different way of looking at stress. In fact, when you really think about it, if we look at the people who we respect the most, those who have had an impact on our lives, the people that we consider mentors or look up to, any one of them, there's an equation. Those people who have left the biggest legacy are also those who have been able to deal with the most stress in their lifetime. Oprah Winfrey, the stress she's under is amazing. Martin Luther King, unbelievable how much stress. Any president of the United States, regardless of which one you respect, that position has an inordinate amount of stress. Even when we look at people who perform or sing or write or put things together for us to look at, watch, or consume, they are putting themselves under stress, and that is what leads to these amazing outcomes where they become someone we look up to. So the next time you think about the stress in your life, I want you to be very conscious about the equation that the more stress we have, the higher our productivity can get. This will help us understand what's going on. And then I have a question for you. Are you stressed out because you have too much going on? Or are you stressed out because there needs to be a little more pressure, maybe more stress in your life, move you into higher levels of productivity so that the stress you have will create the legacy you desire to leave? It's been a pleasure to share this with you today and to have you visit our studios behind the scenes. I truly believe that when we change our impression of stress, not that it's a negative, but it is the fuel that is causing us to grow, it changes our impression of what we're capable of. We've shared this content with Fortune 500 companies at a TEDx. I love this message because it really does modify what we believe we're capable of, and that completely changes the realm of possibilities of what we can accomplish. We'd love to have you stop by again here at alexcharfen.com, where we help you create a business around who you are so that it will give to you indefinitely.